Hey Jason, what is the for the computer? What is the GoToMeeting password? I can't find. Is it Lotpop?
No, you should just, the meeting ID is, do you need the meeting ID?
Well, I got the access code for the phone. Is that
Oh,
the same thing
okay.
as on?
No, yeah, go to joingotomeeting.com. One big word. Don't do it in your search like Google search. Just put it in your browser, joingotomeeting.com. And the meeting
Yep.
ID is the same as the phone. It's the 279-929-1411.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pop that
Gotcha.
in and your go-to should pop up. Perfect question. I see a couple of people putting their cameras on. There's Alex. Yeah, there we go. Here we got Bill. How you doing, Bill? See you there? You might be muted because I didn't hear that. I seen your mouth move, Bill, but I didn't see you. All right. All right. Jeremy just texted me. I think I was gonna. He sent me some information, but he said he might not be able to pop on because it looks like he's isolated, but also doing a vet appointment. So this might be a good time as people have some free time to get. I don't know about going to the vets, but or going out in public and places and stuff, but getting caught up on some of that stuff you typically don't have time to do. All right, what time is it? All right, right at 2. I think we'll give a couple more minutes to trickle in. Again, I'm going to ask, these things are always difficult. If you've never seen that little YouTube video about conference calls as a business, it's funny as heck. So people, I ask that you mute your phone and or your computer, because if you go through your computer and your speakers on, it's going to echo. I don't want to have to, I can go in here and mute everybody forcibly, but if I want to allow somebody to talk, I don't have to scroll through 100 names to try to find that person. It'd just be easier if everybody muted their phones and computers. And then if you have something to say, unmute yourself and say, hey, Jason, can I chime in here? It's totally open like that. I just don't want people to talk over each other and 5 people try to talk at once and we're trying to figure out who's who trying to speak and stuff like that. So not being trying to be controlling here. It's just trying to, again, respect everybody's time and that whole, I know how these things can be annoying sometimes. I didn't know what to call it as far as a state of the union or what, just more of a roundtable. We on our end, just, we deal with a lot of dealerships across the country, so we got a good heartbeat of what dealers are going through. Some of our dealers are, oh, here we go. Somebody mute your computer or phone,
Yeah.
or both.
Hold on.
There we go. So yeah, perfect example. Mute computers and phones, and then if you feel like chiming in,
Mute the.
chime in. Another one needs to
Mute the.
mute computers and phones. There we go. So I'll probably keep this thing up for a little bit. I know I even opened this up to vendors. Again, not a pitch at all. I don't want to pitch anybody pitching anything. It's just there's a lot of vendors out there with some resources that are free for dealers to help get through this stuff. One example would be Alex here. I'll have him talk here in a few minutes. He's going to be, again, I wanted to bring up the whole vendor thing because I didn't want this to seem like a vendor pitch session. It's not at all. I just want to be sensitive to Alex's time, and I know he was busy. I was going to maybe have them, 30 minutes into it chime in. Just, again, I didn't want to come out with that, but he's sensitive on time and he has really good information for you guys. You could see my screen. I got, a good half a dozen people chiming in on what they wanted to talk about. I'll hit those topics. I'll hit some best practices we're telling dealers to do right now as we're talking to our dealer clients that you guys can do yourself, and then kind of just bounce around. I put it as a 2 hour. I figured an hour, but I didn't want to limit it to an hour in case we keep going and guys are keep talking. I could talk cars forever, as you know. I know some guys that know me know I can do that. So if we keep going, we'll go 2 hours. If this is real popular, I'm probably going to try to do this every Wednesday at 2. And if it's, real popular, I think we need to do that as a community. And this isn't a time, I know that how cutthroat the car business is, but man, this is a time to really kind of support each other because everybody's going through the same things. So That's all we're trying to do here to help. So again, please mute your phones and everything. I'm going to have people chime in. I don't want this to be about me or anything. I want dealers to communicate with each other on what's been working at their lots and how they've gotten through some of these issues. But to recap, this isn't a vendor session or anything like that, but I did invite some vendors on here. I want them to tell things, that resources they have for dealers out there. And again, I want to be sensitive to Alex Vetter's time. He's here from cars.com. If you don't know him, he's CEO. Everybody knows that anybody's chiming in. It's not, this isn't just for cars.com client. Any content we're talking about is for every dealer out there. So Alex, again, to be sensitive of your time, go ahead if you can.
Well, first of all, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jason, for your leadership. I think we're in a crisis mode, no matter what business you're in. And what I love about this industry is how we band together during difficult times to help each other out. And so thanks to you and awe and admiration of all the local operators that are trying to react in real time. I want to start by just saying the only reason I don't have time for you is that I've got to join another call here in a moment. Where we've hired some legislators and lobbyists to work with DC attorneys to help the movement to keep auto open. As you all are probably aware, every state has been operating different in how they're classifying dealership operators in terms of essential business status, and we're trying to put our weight behind getting it at a federal level. The Department of Homeland Security on Friday will make a federal distinction for what they deem as essential services. And state by state, not all dealerships, sales or leasing operations are being deemed as essential. And we think that we need to be lobbying on your behalf to help create this federal distinction so that states don't have to make this determination on a state by state basis. They will be making this determination Friday, end of day. And so we've prepared and drafted a letter that all of you can use as your own. And all you will need to do is add your own personal details and specifics, and it will be routed directly to the decision makers in DC who will be ruling on this distinction. We hope to have these forms out to you by 5 o'clock today, so that tomorrow all you have to do is fill out a few forms, and the letter will go directly to the people that will be making this distinction. We're also posting later today the current laws as they stand state by state. So if you're confused or your owner operators are determining kind of whether or not you can operate, we've provided a state by state guide in real time, and we'll be updating it each and every day for you. Are there any questions about that movement? And we're calling it Keep Auto Open, and you can find information there on growwithcars.com.
Is there a hashtag for that? Keep auto open hashtag?
Yeah, yes, there will be. We will be socializing it. We want to, whether you're with us or not as a customer is irrelevant. We just think this is so important for local jobs, local businesses. We're setting it up so anybody can use it regardless of their relationship with us or not.
I'm hearing somebody dial the phone in the background. If you can mute just in case, mute that background. It sounds like somebody's jumping on. Can you share that with the group? Corey asked. So yeah, I believe he said whatever Alex gives me, any email addresses. Alex, if you want to email me that information too, I can just email it to everybody too.
If somebody could just mute the phone, please.
Yeah, please mute your phone or your computer if that's what's picking up.
The best web address that we'll be updating at 5 o'clock today is growwithcars.com. And you'll see some of the content updated there in real time. Each and every day we've been updating that. And I won't get into what we're doing for you as a customer. All of our solutions and financial remedies are posted there as well. Look, I thought it'd be helpful at least to just give this audience some reasons for hope. We're dealing with a lot of fallout and issues and struggling to figure out how to operate. But I will tell you, there are many signs of life that give me a lot of confidence that this is such a temporary crisis we're dealing with. Boston Consulting Group just published a report, which I'm reading in real time, of the top 10 categories that consumers will return to spending post the coronavirus. Number 1 is health and wellness. Number two is vacation and leisure travel. I think everybody's overstressed and needs a break. But right behind that was auto. And we surveyed all shoppers last week. And what we found is that 1 in 3, 35% of potential buyers are now accelerating their purchase horizon. They no longer want to wait until the late summer months. They are going to be pulling forward the decisions to improve their personal transportation. The biggest drivers of that consumer shift in behavior is that 17% of people that previously relied on mass transit or ride-sharing services have now said they would prefer private ownership. And so we think, this is going to pull a new set of buyers into the market that previously weren't in the market because of their fear of social distancing or their need for social distancing and keeping control. I think we're seeing this in our own data. Traffic has remained solid. Certainly we're down. I think all big marketplaces are down 30%. Leads were down 50%, and our geolocation tracking of people showing up to showrooms is way down, north of 80%. But the digital signals are still there. Research, time on site, heavy traffic we're seeing on dealer websites as well. So people are thinking, they are doing their research, and they are still considering who to buy or what to buy and who to buy from. And I certainly believe the federal actions for consumer stimulation will help. And I'm really pleased that the federal stimulus for small business, those with less than 500 employees, I think is going to help everybody on this call. And so I'm happy for all of you. The last couple data points I'd offer, and then Jason, any questions maybe that you've got, is that we still have 1.8 million leases coming up in the next 120 days. Gas prices, I know here in Illinois, and I think nationally, are falling to the lowest levels we've ever seen in most of our lifetimes, near $1 a gallon. And then OEM incentives are going to be coming in. So those are some of the headlines I can offer this group to know that we've got a crisis on our hands, but that there's reason to know we're going to get through it. And with that, Jason, any questions you may have?
What is the resources that they can use right now? Photos, descriptions, regardless if you're open or not, and especially if you're not open, people are shopping, people are looking around. We're seeing shopper counts uptick a bit, and maybe engagement's light because people are still hesitant to spend money yet, but they're definitely looking. So you got to make sure your vehicles are standing tall in line. And Alex, what's that tool that you have where dealers could plug in a VIN number? And I know I think this is free for everybody, right? Clients or non, that they can, if it's not correct to me, but where they can pop in a VIN and it'll show them, hey, your description's wrong, you're missing sunroof, or your description's wrong, you got nav and stuff like that. What's that resource for these guys?
The resource is called Auto Corrected, and it systematically looks at your inventory and shows you the 30% of merchandising features that are missing from your public descriptions. Reach out to us at cars.com. My email address also is alex@cars.com. I can help route you to the people who can get you help, but Auto Corrected will help you. We think merchandising is more important. Price is always important, but pictures sell cars and stories sell cars too. And so we've rolled that out as a free solution to dealers just to help with merchandising.
Yeah. And is there other reports that you, or things that have, is there a shopper count thing or stats or anything you want to share like that too? I have no problem with you guys sharing some of that stuff if you want or not.
Look, I didn't bring anything to sort of tout our success or our value, although I will tell you our organic traffic continues to be our best in the category. We're seeing organic searches continue to climb and app downloads as well. So again, I think that people are starting to think about what are they going to do when they come out of this, and people start returning to work. And I just think with every crisis, there's an opportunity, and I know we're all feeling the impact in the near term. We saw this in Seattle. We're seeing this in California, New York as well. When the government announces work from home and or federal or state shutdowns, traffic is taking a severe dip immediately that same day, if not two. But then we're seeing a nice bounce in traffic. The buying metrics, like you said, Jason, aren't returning at the same rate. But what we're seeing is now that people are captive at home, they're having more time to conduct their research, to make the decisions about what to buy. And I think as any retailer, I've talked to some of the retail categories outside of auto, and I think advertising is dead because we're not going to be able to pull people into the market that aren't in the market. But that doesn't mean you can't convert the people that have already declared some intent. And I think that's going to be our challenge over the next 30, 60, 90 days, depending on how long this goes, is how do we convert our unfair share of those people that have already declared an intent?
Yeah. A couple things I want to just tell guys. One of the things I'm pushing, and I'm planning on having separate meetings with different companies, cars.com one, things like that, is sometimes if you can't do a lot on the retail end right now, your hands are tied, being closed, reach out to your reps that you're doing business with, if it's cars.com, autotradercars.com, and all those times that the reps showed up and say, hey, we got some great new reporting, and you look at it and you're like, yeah, okay, great. I don't have time right now, but I'll check it out. This is the time to check it out. There's so many resources back there that we're always too busy to really wrap our heads around. This is the time to do it. So reach out to your rep. Does anybody have questions for Alex real quick? If you got another 5 minutes, Alex, or what's your time limit here? Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
Anybody have any questions? If not, what's the site for autocorrect? He said to reach out to him.
You can email me at alex@cars.com, and my assistant or I will get someone to help you directly, so we know your zip code and they can get you someone locally who can contact you.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in, or you can talk also? You don't need to chat if you wanted to ask them. No, we good? All right. Alex, I appreciate
I think that I'm going to join the federal work call now, and I will tell you I have a lot of hope. I think home delivery, if we as an industry can argue that our sales departments can deliver cars to people's homes cleanly, safely, and that our businesses don't have to be packed showrooms, but we can still do business, we've got a good chance of getting qualified as essential status. So if you're not thinking about how to deliver to people or to provide reservations or take deposits and sell cars via appointment only, I think you may not be in the standard as to where I think the government is going to come down on this. But we'll give you an update at 5 o'clock today. Again, check the Grow with Cars website, and we'll certainly be active on social, sending out our tips to help get you deemed as essential.
And that was Keep Auto Open. What was that?
Right now, it looks like the website's going to be growwithcars.com/keepauto-open, okay. But we'll be promoting it aggressively, Jason, and I'll send it directly to you so you can get it out to your audience.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex. Thanks for your time. I know you're busy, and I appreciate everything you're doing for the industry there with that.
Hey, Jason, you're the one doing all the heavy lifting. Thank you, and thank everybody out there. Stay strong.
Thanks, good. Thanks. All right, so appreciate that. And again, any other vendors, I got a couple other that reached out with some resources. I am, I'm going to bring up some of these Facebook messages that I received. If Ron's on here, if you can, anybody on here, make sure you mute your phone. Ron, do you happen to be on here? Bowman from Donwood Automotive? We got some background noises. Somebody can turn their phone on mute or computer.
It's probably me. I'm sorry. I just had a question for you all.
Okay.
Also.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Because right now we're presently open, and we're doing some of the deliveries and stuff. My concern though is, I guess, towards my salespeople in the delivering process, because we're doing good protecting ourselves, but what's to say if we deliver a call to a customer and where's that protection stop for them?
Yeah, good question. And I'll have other dealers chime in if they have solutions, because that's some risks where dealers weren't willing to take and they just decided not to do that. I can go either way with it. I would encourage, we can do sales. I say, obviously if you're doing a delivery, do it with gloves, maybe have Lysol or cans to spray the car down to show the customer it's sprayed down and clean. I wouldn't, handshake with the customer. Obviously, I would have probably brand new boxes of pens in your pocket. Frank Lopes talked about that on one of his. If you guys don't follow Frank Lopes, he does Lopes Live, and he did a good session about being unemployed or laid off right now. But he was talking about at your desk, have brand new boxes of pens, so every pen's brand new. Let the customer pick their own.
Really? How much were you spending on that?
Oh, can you mute your phone? I know there's somebody there speaking about. But yeah, maybe have new sets of pens if they're able to sign at home. But anybody on here dealer wise that has some answers or to this concern? Definitely wipe the cars down. Lysol or the Germex hand lotion stuff. Have the customer the paperwork for them to fill out, maybe already kind of sealed or something. But are you guys doing that stuff already?
Yeah, we're trying to do some of that. It just we've only had one little scare where a customer returned a vehicle and said that they were sick.
Oh.
So we let it set for about 4 days,
Yeah.
and then we put it in our service department, put an ionized machine in it. Don't know how effective that is or not after we sprayed it down, but
Yeah.
still the traffic's slow. And I told all my salespeople, listen, if number one is you don't have to do test drives. That's not required right now. But if your customer wants to test drive, as long as we got insurance and license, I'll let them drive by themselves and do a loan agreement.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, just that fear of the unknown. I have so far in a couple of deals, told a couple of customers, said, listen, we're still deemed as essential, whether you believe that or not, we're essential, and we're here for the public to help them. So some of our tire kickers, I'm like, this is not the time to tire kick.
Yeah.
If you're here, we're here for you. If you're not, I mean, just, because my salespeople come to work and risking their lives, I don't want them getting jerked around by a customer that wants to really negotiate or something like that. So I just tell them straight up, say, listen, the price is what the price is. Not trying to be mean or anything, but, we need to protect ourselves also.
Correct. Yep, and just take caution, man, out there. It's going to be a little different. Like I said, I want to be able to help dealers keep their doors open and still do deliveries and stuff like that. But then, the other way is, some of that stuff's, causing the stuff to still linger around, So it's something to juggle, but definitely use every precaution you can with gloves, wipes, lotions, new pens. Don't have the salesman pulling his pen off his shirt, handing it to the customer, make sure it's wiped down, or, if he has gloves, even wipe the pen down because the customer don't know who the last one touched that pen, that kind of stuff to feel comfortable. And then again, when they get the pen back, wiping that down or have the customer use their own, what have you. But
one of the things that we're running up against is how we're going to handle right of rescission from delivering it off site.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we're butting up against in our state, going and offering delivery outside. So I don't know if there's any advice or if anybody's running into that as well too.
Anybody have advice on that? Obviously, each state's going to be run on its own. My understanding was on some of those. Yeah, I'm not sure on those. Each state's going to be different, so I don't want to.
Hey,
Jason,
Yeah,
Jason,
I
this
didn't
is
know if
Mike.
you're really using a company out there, like, almost like when you get documentation signed, like TrueStar or anything of that sort, where it could eliminate the 3-day right of rescission. That's one of the big things that we're running up against, that we're going to be offering delivery.
Well, I understand if they come to you to purchase the vehicle, I don't know. I've read some stuff out there. I don't know if it's all true, but it was the protection from the vacuum door-to-door salesmen that took advantage of old ladies and stuff. But if they knocked on your door and sold it, they got a 3-day return. But if they came to you to buy it, that's a different story. But that's hearsay, and each state's going to be different. Somebody was trying to chime in too.
Hey, Jason, it's Motion. Sir, how are you?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Okay, so a couple things. Number one, on the rider rescission, it is a home solicitation act, and that's across, I think, every state.
Okay.
But here's what I would tell you guys. If the only way we can do business is to deliver a car to somebody's home right now, then I'd roll the dice. And if they return, if you get 1 out of 20 returned for 3 days, then you sold 19. If you're not going to do business because of that return policy, then you're going to miss the opportunity to sell cars. The second thing I'd bring up, when you go back to what do we do about cars, showing them to customers, and I'm not advocating for any particular organization, but a lot of your recon companies, your Tough Seals, Streamlines, they now have products to sanitize cars with a hanging tag that put in the car, says this car was sanitized on March 25th at 2020 for your protection. So you might look into them. I think a lot of these companies are charging about $25 to fully sanitize a car, and it's not just running a smoke bomb, and they're actually using chemicals that kill everything in the seats and the vents, everything. So that might be something that you want to do. So I just want to bring up that on those 2 points.
Yeah, matter of fact, one of my guys sent from one of our company dealers called Bergeron. I'm going to actually try to send it to myself, Anderson. Looks like what he was maybe mentioning here, let me see here, called Foggit, I guess, and a little hang tag. Sanitized, deodorized, disinfected with Foggit, hanging from the cars. Viruses, molds, germs, bacteria. So those type of products would be available. And obviously you want to promote that, and you want to promote it socially, obviously. Make sure customers know that that's there.
But is that something that we can get online, or is that you just saying talk to the vendors that we have? Or
I would guess that's a company product. I mean, I would almost Google it with Foggit. Looks like it's a company. Again, maybe what he was referring to, that is probably, I would imagine, anybody using this, Bergeron sent it to us. I don't know if they're on this call or not.
Yeah. Hey, this is Oscar at Bergeron. That's a vendor that we use. That's, he sent that to me Monday. He said it's something they're going to start offering, and trying to talk about price right now. But it sounds like it's going to be around $50 a car, and he's just trying to make sure he has enough supply that's incoming to start taking on accounts. But Neil, I'll send you his information.
Hello.
all right, thank you, Oscar. And another question is, if they do the credit and app everything online, does that mean that they're coming to us? I know we still going to their house, but I wonder if that kind of gives us a little bit more power of as far as for saying that we're not soliciting the business, that you're still trying to come to us.
The law states that it's where the transaction actually occurs. So and I'm not a lawyer, but I've been down this road, if the transaction occurs at their residence, then it doesn't matter where they did the credit app. Even if they came into the dealership and then you took the car to them and signed at their house, it's still considered an off-premise transaction.
Okay, and I agree, and I just and I agree with you. If you sell 5 and you get 1 back, you still 4 ahead. So, in what's faced with is just a chance we're gonna have to take.
Yeah, and it's just one of those.
Yeah, I'm right there with Mo. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say it's just an obstacle until you do it. You don't know how to handle it. Once you do it enough, you'll know how to handle it more. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm right there with Mo. Looking at the 3-day return policy, from what I understand about all states, it is exactly what he said. It's where the transaction takes place, what they consider the transaction. Again, I'm not any legal advice. I'm just telling you what I've heard and what I've seen, being in the retail side. If they would do the paperwork at the dealership or sign it digitally from the dealership, you should be fine delivering the car once it's all said and done, your hands are clean. If you sign the paperwork or any papers with wet signatures at their home or business or something, you're going to run into that 3-day return policy. But again, let's not look at the negatives of any of this stuff. Like Jason said, let's be happy and thankful on the retail side that even though some people are saying it's non-essential and some are essential, let's just be happy we can still sell cars, guys. I mean, that's the reality of it. Carvana's out here advertising home delivery through all of this, even in states that are completely shut down, and they're getting away with it because they're not deemed as a car dealership. So let's just look at the positives of it and, innovate, come up with creative solutions. And, if you get 1 returned or 2 returned or 3 returned, it's the price of doing business. It's better than not doing business, right?
You could just offer a 3-day exchange policy up front, and cut it off at the pass.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, Carvana's doing what, 7 days? So, don't be afraid of that. And then to your point, I copied this off of in my Facebook feed, so I'm assuming it's out to the public so I can grab it. But Vernon, this Vernon Auto Group, man, and it's from the dealer, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically it sounds like, myself hiding the team, committed to doing everything from home. I want to make some announcements. This is where you guys got to be relevant to the community. This is where it's so important to let the dealer, let the dealer shine. The difference between you guys and like the Carvanas is you have people. That's a benefit for you guys because people like buying from people. And, so part of it is, they're starting next week. Will ozone machines installed each location, sanitize the interior 100%, but they're offering it for free to the community. So people can, and they'll pick up the customer's car. I'll come pick up your car and clean it for you. It takes 15 to 20 minutes. They're offering that to their community. They do Meals on Wheels every week and continue to do so and help those people out. They're going to go grocery shopping or supplies for elderly in the community. So they're offering to go, if they're sick, elderly, young, scared, high-risk category, message me. I'll help you out. School shut down. A lot of families worried about how they're going to feed their children. I don't want you to worry about a thing. No child go hungry in the town on my watch. Okay, he's going to make sure the kids are getting fed. So I mean, this is just a really good message to put out to the community, not only on Facebook, but I have it on your website. Because this is what's cool about the automotive industry. Part of communities, we give back, and don't be ashamed to promote it, and especially this time, and don't seem like you're bragging, because this guy's not bragging. He knows there's people that needs help, and he's out there to do it. So put as much as you can out there. I've always asked dealers to do this. A lot are better than others, but now is even a more important time to shine when it comes back to what you're doing to sterilize your cars and everything else. But that's a good example.
Jason.
Yep.
Just to piggyback off that, just some best practices that I've seen a lot of dealers do and talk about to take that a step further. I mean, it's one thing to talk about, it's another thing to initiate. And I would tell you, like, if your websites look like they did 2 weeks ago, like, kind of shame on us, we need to promote that connectivity, right? We need to show that more, we need to emphasize more with our customers and just show that human aspect. So I would encourage you, change your website, have that message of we deliver, we can pick up. Yeah. We can clean those cars. Update your syndications. If you got web banners on pictures, update those syndications too to promote that message.
And Jonathan, the other thing is we're going through, and as we're helping dealers, we're jumping on their website, and these are Chrysler stores that had 0% for 84 months and no payment for 120 days. There was nowhere on their website. And it's like that'd be the first thing you got to display, and the banner on your thumbnail, 0%, 84 months, get that in front of people. But here's a topic I want to bring up. This kind of threw me for a loop. This guy messaged me yesterday because you got to watch for this. He says, he knows he's not the only one experiencing this, but I bought a car last week to be picked up at the dealership in Michigan. Transfer tire called today to get their hours, and all I got was a recording saying they're closed until further notice. I'm going to pause right here so I don't forget. Update your Google hours, okay? Go, update your website, update your Google for your hours. You don't want to tick somebody off if they finally got the courage to go out in public and then come by and pick up a part or something they've been wanting and needing, and they're finally going to work on their car. If it's just update your hours on Google Business and your website. Anyways, he called Odessa.
Update your autoresponders as well.
Yeah.
Update all those autoresponders. They'll say, hey, come on in tomorrow, right? I mean, change those autoresponders.
Perfect. I called Odessa and was told, they're closed for further notice. Called Odessa and was told that that's the norm right now. They didn't give me any answers how to get my car. They just gave me a case number to refer to. So, as you may be buying these smart auction cars or buying them off dealers' lots and swapping vehicles and sending transporters, you better, before you bid on these cars, maybe call ahead and say, hey, if I buy this thing, can I pick it up tomorrow? You guys going to be open? Or can their service department at least give them their car? All right, is anybody else dealing with this right now, and have you found a way around it? No one? But definitely.
Hey, this is Brandon from Marion Toyota. I was just going to say that, just like you were saying, communication is going to be the only way. I've been tracking down all of our cars, trying to get them back to the dealership, so at least we can pump them through service and everything. But having a heads up and dealing with your reps. If you don't have a good rep, I mean, find somebody that's going to actually help you out. Luckily enough, our smart auction rep is on the ball. He's done, above and beyond to help us out. But if you're picking up at a Manheim, a lot of Manheims only pick up on sale days. You're going to have to call down there and battle the phones to see, when it's available, because if it gets to be too late, you're just going to be on the, hoping that Smart Auction or Odessa or whoever is going to help you on the arbitration and when this all blows over. So that's just my advice.
Yeah, and some guys, asking me and reaching out, should I be buying right now? Should I be stocking up? I can get some great deals. I had one dealer bought 40. He's like, I hope I didn't make a mistake. Here's my transportation is an essential thing. So I would assume, these guys would be free reign to go pick up cars for you. Obviously, defect them or, clean them when you get them back, and not just detail them, but all the other stuff you need to do to make these cars available for sale. But, it depends. As far as stocking up, some guys are stocking up so they have the car. It's kind of like the toilet paper. Buy it before it runs out and let me have the bunch when business comes back. That's a strategy. I really can't, tell dealers get rid of the cars in, 30 days because we might not be able to sell some for 30 days. But a couple things you got to keep in mind. Our thoughts are rental companies are releasing their fleets. One of ours, I'm in Kansas City, one of our local dealers messaged out there on Facebook, that Enterprise was dumping a good chunk of their cars. A week later, message again said, hey, Enterprise has told me they're going to drop their floor 1,500. We might want to be on their buying. So these rental companies are going to drop these cars. A lot of leases are still coming in. Alex has said that from cars.com. And heaven forbid, but we know it's going to be true. There's going to be a lot of dealers that don't have cash flow to survive this, and their cars are going to come into the market. Is that going to happen in the next 30, 45, 60 days? Probably. So if we get to go, the country gets to open back up over the next 30, 45 days. The only question is, when they open up the floodgates, are the customers going to be having cabin fever and running out and just and start buying and getting back to what they've been trying to do? Or are they going to be like a sleepy bear that just woke up from hibernation and just kind of stumble around for a couple months before they actually spend big ticket items? So even if the market comes back, we don't know how the market's going to react to buying. But there's plenty of industries out there that are actually thriving right now. I mean, think of it, silly board games and stuff. My wife tried to order some games for the kids while they're here and couldn't get that delivery through Amazon. It got canceled. They're running out. There's little markets like that, pockets of things that, are booming. And so there's going to be buyers out there. We just got to be ready for them. Another topic, let me go here unless somebody wants to chime in right now. Well, here, while I have this up, Auto Trader sent me this prior to the call. They have a couple things that they're offering. Obviously, virtual walk around. Start with the sale with presenting videos and stuff if you can. Test drive from home, bring it to the customer. Home delivery, we're just talking about that. I think Auto Trader, again, this is the time to reach out any reps that you're using and saying, hey, what resources do you have? What's the reporting that you always try to show me I didn't have time, and your back end that might help do that. Let me pull up here.
And just to let you know, most of them are doing that at no additional charge too.
Exactly.
Like Auto Trader is doing it for us at no additional charge.
Yep. And I'm going to have Max Digital join us in a little bit here. They've got a good retail virtual sell the customer the car product to validate pricing and stuff like that. But I've got a little list here. And Tim, I know you're on. I'll hit you here in a bit so you can share some of that information. And I believe as far as Dealer Track too. Michael, if he's on here, I know he's got some stuff on here. But here's another email, Luther, and this is going to answer some of you guys' questions here. What other dealers Luther prefers we aren't referred to directly? If you know what I mean. Here's some help on your content. So What is your store doing about keeping the service pipeline full? Communication with clients, call and email, routine maintenance, offer pickup and delivery services. Okay. Are you getting your used cars that needed service and photos done at this time too? Yes. So again, some dealers have shut down retail, but you can, if you have 100 cars on your lot, but only 70 always seem to be stuck at 70 being fully photoed and serviced and lot ready. Well, if you can't retail right now, there's no excuses throughout this. When your gates are open, when your gates can open, you should have 100 in stock and 100 ready to roll. So yeah. Are you getting your used cars? Okay. Are you pulling in and data mining for open recalls? That's another thing. Get your open recalls taken care of both in your inventory and your customers. If you can get them in or pick up cars, you got an opportunity to switch them out. I don't know who's on the background. Mute your phone or your computer, please. So also, one of the things I thought about is reach out to your surrounding dealers to help them out. Either if you have downtime or not, some guys don't because they're on a shorter staff, but reach out to those dealers to see if you're the Ford store, you reach out to the Chevy store or go to their website, see if they have similar cars that could have recons, grab the VINs, pull them, see if they do. Reach out to your surrounding dealers saying, bring me your recall cars now and we'll help you out. And in the meantime, when they bring you the car, might ask them, hey, do you want to sell me this thing? What do you want for it? And maybe you get some inventory that way. Auto alert's a good data mining thing, but get your customers in. FixOps also has a mobile service when they go to a client. Perfect. If you're still open, what are you doing to minimize jeopardize clients and employees? We have a split staff, A, B, and C team to minimize exposure and provide safe, comfortable experience to guests. No handshaking, creating a barrier at the desk with no contact if possible. That's what we talked about earlier. And are you offering home deliveries, pick up to customers? Yeah, they are true concierge type clients engaged. It's hard. Now, Jameson, are you on this? And from my understanding, Luther's been kind of running a lot of that stuff for a while, correct? If you're on? But he says it's hard to gauge whether people are taking advantage of it, but stores are reporting that clients appreciate it when you take the vehicles to them. Again, resource you find in getting customers informed. Facebook's the easiest way. One of the things I'm telling you, man, I've been so many meetings, and I don't know if I'm repeating it here, but be relevant. Right now, even if you can't retail cars, you can get in front of customers. Go look at Rob Ruth at Bob Ruth Ford. If you're not on Facebook, he's at his house with his wife and his kids and his family or himself, and he's talking about just personal things he's going through and what the company's going through. He's making himself relevant to the people right now. He's staying informed and he's staying in front of them. So when they can sell or if the people are thinking about buying, perfect. Little things. Just do a quick video tip to the community and saying, hey, if you're not allowed to drive to work, your car might be sitting for a few days. You might want to go out every other day to start your car so your battery's not dead. So that opportunity when you need to go to the grocery store, you don't have a dead battery. Or another video saying, hey, quick tip. You know, if you're concerned about money, here's a cheap way to maintain your car. Upgrade your windshield wipers right now. It's springtime. It's going to rain a lot. Again, if you get a chance to go out and you need to go to the store or an emergency, you don't want to be stranded without good windshield wipers. Not a big expense. If you'd like to bring them to us, we'll install them for you or whatever. Just put stuff like that out there and some personal information to keep relevant. I mean, that's what I'm doing with us. You know, if you guys watch, I put out tips. I don't try to self-promote there. I want dealers to be able to take that information. And I used to do it once a week, but I said, you know what, dealers need more help now. I'm putting myself out every day, every other day, just to help you guys get ahead of this, just like you want to help your customers. So just put content that's out there relevant, and then they're going to be first in mind. Anybody want to chime in on what we're just talking here? I know there's some chats going on here. Anybody want to? Stephanie?
Yeah, Jason, this is Bert Davidson here. One of the things that I kind of made a mistake is I control the pricing. I direct 4 stores to use cars, and I probably didn't do a good job of communicating my strategy with all the sales managers in the stores in regards to pricing cars a little bit more aggressive and stuff like that. So I just wanted to tell everybody that, if you guys are going to price your cars a little bit more aggressively, just make sure you communicate, and just kind of get buy-in from managers, because everybody's kind of, there are some people out there that think that might just be a 1 or 2 week blip, and then everything, is going to spring back into place. And it probably is going to be a little longer than that.
Yeah. And that brings up this point. He's an independent dealer, said, I'd like to know how people are making pricing decisions right now on current inventory and purchase inventory. As an independent buyer, I'm keeping an eye out there, but when do you start clicking? So crazy right now. One piece of bad news could drop the market real fast. I have dealers that are, you got to continue, again, closed or not, stay on top of your pricing. This isn't a vacation. If you're a manager, there's still things to manage. And if you can watch your inventory and if you're pricing, before this happened, we would see a car that we priced at 93% of market turn to 95% within days or within the week. And if you don't stay on top of that, next thing you know, your 93 turns into 97 or 98. And I'll tell you this, and I know this metric, you know it too. You get your detailer, your service person, whoever helps with turnaround time, you get one of those, your photo person, you get them sick for 1 or 2 days, that whole thing can throw you off for 1 to 2 weeks. Almost every day in lag time costs you a week in inventory turnaround time. And you guys probably, if you look back, can agree. So imagine what this 2 weeks is going to do if dealers, everybody maybe has to quiet down for 2 weeks. You need to be making adjustments, and so it doesn't take you 4 months to recover those 2 weeks. You can recover within a month or so. Cut that time in half by just staying on top of those market moves. So however you want to price, some dealers are thinking, man, if customers are going to buy them, get as much money as I can out of them, but I don't think you can do that right now. You're just going to have to stay aggressive and try to keep that inventory lean and clean out. And I pray a whole lot of you got cleaned up before this hit. Anybody else want to chime in on that? No.
Just to back up on that Foggett, I was Googling while we were on the call.
Yep.
And I didn't see anywhere where it said anything about, killing the bacteria stuff. So I guess we just need to be really cautious on what products we're using and advertising, so it don't bite us in the butt.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure you're using a product that can maybe validate that. You'd hate to say that you did it and then somebody gets sick, but it doesn't have to come from your car too, though. But
We've been doing up there.
Okay. Again, anybody want to talk about pricing strategies and stuff right now? Anything different than what we talked about? I think we're staying a pretty good pace here. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll pop in. It's Mo again.
Yeah.
So I had this conversation with Jonathan, Jonathan Strega, and we were talking about it last night. And I think with the rental car companies getting ready to drop their fleets, as they will, they're not going to have a choice. You're going to see, especially the later models and with the incentives from the new cars, the 19s and any of the used 20s are going to drop like a rock.
Mm-hmm.
So my philosophy is if people are in the market, but we have a more limited market as to who's in the market, then why would you not want to be aggressive and at least get them into your store versus somebody else's? If you're at 103, 104% of the market on a commodity car, they're going to go somewhere else. It may be Carvana, it may be Bob's Motors down the street, it may be a franchise store. But if you're not pricing aggressively, holding out for gross, then what you're going to look up for is 45 days from now, if that's how long it takes for this to turn, a huge aging issue. So if you've got a customers in the market now and there's a finite amount of customers, then you definitely want it into your store versus into somebody else's.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think, I've watched the lanes 2 days in a row now, and, they're just, mid-size all-wheel drive SUVs, the heart of the market, $15,000 MMR cars. You can't get anybody to click the button at $2,000 behind MMR. And yesterday at Manheim, Ohio, Nissan decided to cut loose, and they were selling Rogues for $1,500 behind MMR, Altimas $1,500, $2,000 behind MMR. So there's going to come a point in time where I think these captive financials are going to cut cars loose. You do that for a week or 2 weeks, and once that gets in the inventory mix with vAuto, you're going to see a whole different picture in terms of cost to market and price to market than what it was before.
And that, as a reminder too, and I know we got Tim on Max Digital, and it doesn't matter vAuto, Max Digital. I know a lot of guys do a 45-day supply, but think about that. 45 days ago, it was a different world. So a lot of that day supply stuff, too, you got to watch that to understand kind of, is it really this low, or should I hold out because it's a low day supply? Well, it's looking back in February and March when we were selling some things. So, and then vice versa, when you come back out of this thing, in May, and May and June, it might say it has a high day supply and you want to drop the price, but it's looking back right now at April when we couldn't sell anything or had real slow sales. So, there's going to just have to fine tune how to pay attention to some of those metrics, because again, it's going to change as fast as if it's ever been. And I've been on multiple calls and jumping on a lot of our dealers' calls saying the same thing. So if I said this already, I apologize. But, I was in sales in 97. So when 9/11 hit in 01, when 0% hit for the first time, the economy got shattered a little bit, went through that. And then in 08, I started with vAuto in 05. So in 08 and 09, when the recession was happening, we're out there helping dealers get their used cars turned around. So I've been through that. And I realized this market, somewhat similar to those, but you don't throw in a virus into the mix. If it was just a bad economy, every dealer would just find ways to work around it and control the situation. Right now, a lot of them feel out of control. But this market's going to move faster than it ever has. And so just looking at a bunch of different metrics and sales activity just over the last 2 weeks, I wouldn't get tied up with what you sold over the last 30 or 45 days. Look at what's happening this week and last week and make adjustments to that scenario, because it's going to be moving so fast. Anybody want to chime in on there? I know we got a message in here, Stephen Granger, about the recallrabbit.com. Customers are using it right now to help keep revenue in the area. So there's in the chat box if you guys want to check that out. John Anderson, one of our guys, when you slacked me this, you said this morning I received the call. Is that you received a call from a dealer, or are you copying this from what a dealer sent you?
I'm copying it from what a dealer sent me.
So he emailed you this and said this morning he received a call from John at Performance Toyota. He said he was going through our inventory, just what I was talking about. So another dealer called him and said he noticed they had 2 4Runners that had recalls. He said, I have techs that aren't doing much. How would you like for me to send a couple people down there to pick them up, complete the recalls? He said, absolutely, thank you. They came down, picked them up, did the work, brought them back. Awesome customer service, pretty smart on his part, keeping in the tech business. Thank you, John. The next part amazes me. Start running through your inventory checklist that has recalls and find might have 20, 25 out of 400 units. So start at servicing department to see if you want to work. Anyone, these dealers are close by. Yeah, within 1 to 3 miles. He's dipping out there to find some recall work. Awesome.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, sir.
I think what you referenced about the open mind aspect about how quickly the market is going to shift, just reinforce that, or everybody that's listening, that's not an understatement. It's going to move more rapidly than it ever has before and more unpredictably. So that communication piece, that just really resonated. That's not just an automotive piece, it's multiple industries that I communicate with, and you hit the nail on the head. So just want to reinforce what you shared. And the perspective that brings it to mind, I've had a couple of conversations recently with dealers that seem stuck in a mindset that's going to harm them if they can't figure out a way to shift.
Yeah. Yep. And, it's one of those things. And again, I'm not doing a self-promotion here. This is just letting you guys know. I mean, this is to the point where we've got a stocking tool we help dealers with. I moved it to 2-week stocking scenarios because I don't want to look at 30 and 45 days. I don't want them to stock that way. If business is starting to drop, stop buying. If it's picking up, let's buy. Because if I looked 30 days ago, it's going to tell me, no, don't buy, even though your last week has been the busiest week you've had, because it's still looking 30, 45 days. So again, no matter what you're looking at, stocking, SRP, VDP, customer leads closing percentage, all that kind of stuff. is going to fluctuate so differently this time because, obviously closing percentage is going to look horrible in April, and then you have a strong May. And in May, maybe it's low because you're dealing with April leads that you might have in May. So it's just the other thing is one of the things talking about internet process management. One of the we do weekly calls with dealers on that too. The reason why I do that, my 8 years on selling cars was through the internet, and that's 97 and 05. And we know as we drive more leads on cars, customers get better with new used cars or better with inventory. You're going to get more leads, and then comes the process management. The whole point of my been watching this forever is we see we do activities per lead. To me, that's the biggest engagement that you're going to know if you are doing a good job on internet leads. Now, I understand I'm talking about phone calls and emails, but also text messages. It's hard in a lot of tools to track text messages, so I'm going to kick that to the side. But let's look at your calls and emails in your CRM. What you need to do is see how many leads you have and how many calls or emails you're doing. So is take your whole last week and say how many calls did we do and how many leads did we have, and we divide that up. And most of our stores, our best performing stores, are doing over 20 calls and emails per lead. That's kind of the quota that we're trying to get dealers to hit. Because the point is the reason why I say to me that's the most important metric is you've always heard it. You want to sell more cars, talk to more people, period. Right? So the only way to talk to more people is try to reach out more often. Calls and emails. Don't think you're bugging people. I've never had anybody tell me I'm never buying a car from you because you followed up with me too much. Right? So I've had people say, hey, you know what? The only reason why I'm calling you guys, you're the only one that followed up with me from 60 days ago. Thank you very much. So calls and so what I'm saying is when we're really busy and traffic's there and leads are there, we tend to deal with the low-hanging fruits because we're too busy. So our activity per lead actually goes down because we're so busy and we're selling cars, we're setting appointments, but we're only dealing with the low-hanging fruit. We're not calling that 14-day-old lead because that 2-day-old lead's calling me wanting to come in today. And so then what happens is, so that
Marty,
week we're busy, but the following week it gets
you or
dead.
Chuck help Travis with the.
Can somebody mute your phone or your computer? The following week we're dead, and we're wondering why we're dead. Well, the reason why is last week we didn't do all the calls and emails, and so guess what? When we're dead, the manager goes, "Hey guys, what are you doing? Let's get on this. Let's get on the phones. Let's get on these emails. Let's get things going." And then our activity per lead goes back up. All of a sudden, we're talking to more people, and then the next week we're busy again. And so these are those fluctuations you're going to see. This is going to be one of those crucial times again when you're tracking things, looking at the last 2 weeks, activities per lead, because if you're closed for 2 weeks, obviously that activity isn't there, but we need to start ramping it up. And let's say you do start getting busy, people start showing back up. Don't just deal with the low-hanging fruit. You got to keep that consistent. The dealerships that kept that consistency on contacts per lead always seen a busy floor. Other people are fluctuating, and you know what I mean. You guys go through it all the time. We see it trend after trend. That's another thing that you're going to want to look at as things move fast. So Herb Easley, Ryan Decker, are you on the call? This is something he shared. One of the things, he got lucky. He took over the store in January. They had 2.3 million in inventory, and 70% was over 60 days old. He goes, today they have 1.2 million, so half the inventory, and selling the same amount of cars. And his 60 plus is down to 24%. So it's good timing. He got that cleaned up. Biggest topic he wants to hear is other dealers. What are other dealers doing to offer online sales? I'm going to put a strategy together regardless. Again, we talked about this. Make sure everything's lean, clean, check with your state, but don't worry about that 3-day return policy. Do your 10 deals and take that one that maybe come back in 3 days, right? Anybody want to add to what I talked about on the internet or what we're talking about here? You guys all right there? Got a couple more emails I want to go over. And Michael, are you on here? Dealer Track, DMS?
I am, yes, sir.
All right. Do you want me to recount it through this, or do you want to just kind of reiterate? Why don't you reiterate, point out some of the things here that maybe we didn't cover that you want to make sure people are paying attention to?
I think you about covered them. I mean, we talked a lot about the recalls. And, you know, obviously the pickup, drop off, shuttle service enhanced. I mean, most of the stores that I work with at least have some additional people with some time on their hands. Maybe we can get them involved in some of that to boost our service business, or dropping off vehicles for test drives, as we mentioned earlier. And I know there's some logistics things state by state that play a role into that as well. You know, trying to get mobile in our sales department as well. But as I mentioned in the email that I sent to you, is that if there's one thing that I've learned, you know, I got in the business in 2000, and I never thought that we'd see anything like 9/11. And then we never thought we'd see anything like 2008 and 2009. And here we are again with something, you know, that's a major challenge for us, but somehow, some way, this industry works their way through it.
Yep. And just like you said, time to reflect, refine, and master processes. And that old saying, the best processes happen at the worst of time, and the worst processes happen at the best of times. Everybody's been able to get sloppy. Everybody's been able to be sloppy. You know, again, I want to say, you know, we consult dealers on inventory management. You know, our business has been able to grow, but, you know, a lot of dealers are having record months and stuff. They didn't need help. And so, you know, I think a lot of dealers forgot about 08 and 09 and what they went through, and was able to be a little sloppy in our processes because of that. Matter of fact, one of the dealer groups that I talked to, they said that, you know, now that our stores are closed for retail sales, he said the corporate offices are meeting every morning with the GMs, and we're meeting at the corporate office and team, and we're cleaning house, and we're doing stuff because we got sloppy for a while because things were going good. So, you know, the best habits happen the worst of times, and the worst habits happen at the best of times. So, like you said, refine and master these processes. Get this downtime, utilize it to make shifts and make moves and line things up, and then when the gates open, you're running. You know.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So anything dealer track, and not to put you on the spot, I don't know if you got, I mean, is there resources out there for dealers, clients or non-clients that they should be reaching out to for dealer track?
Well, I'm a performance manager for the DMS, so I'm a little biased in here, but I think
Sure.
this is the prime time to get with your performance managers from our business units, or your reps from Lotpop, and you know, anybody else that we've got on here or that you work with closely, and take time. You mentioned it earlier, where, you know, we've got some reports and metrics and things that we want to look at that sometimes we don't have time to look at those. And I think now is an opportunity to spend time with people that are really there for your best interest and trying to improve your business.
Yeah, and I've got mixed messages. I had a GM in a California store. Hey, we're shut down. We got hardly any staff. He goes, and I'm too busy. I'm dodging bullets. I'm cleaning. I'm parts delivering. I'm doing all this stuff now. He's the VP now. You know, he goes, so yeah, it'd be great. All these vendors are reaching out to me, you know, wanting to send me these big long emails. And so keep this in mind. You know, and we appreciate, you know, he's like, you know, vendors are trying to offer all this stuff and time, and they say, I'm more busy than I've ever been in 33 years. So I get that. But other guys that maybe not be as busy, yeah, like Michael was saying, you know, take this time to reach out to your companies you're doing business with, and figure out, spend the time with them that you might have been too busy to spend time with them. Again, when I was at Viato traveling all the time, you know, I try to pop in the store. I try not to bug them more than an hour, even, you know, because I know they're time sensitive, and they're usually busy and trying to work deals when I'm trying to work with them. And they're probably not capturing a lot of what I was trying to say to them and stuff. But the other dealers that were good operators made sure they set time aside. They only dealt with me at that time, and hey, what do you got for us? So now's the time to, if you've been that too busy of a person, now that time to isolate and maybe use your day. If you got 6-8 hours today, do 1 hour with your Cars Auto Trader rep, do another one with your Car Gurus rep, another one with your dealer track rep, and if you didn't feel like you got enough out of it, schedule another call with them, take advantage of them. All right. And that's the one thing I did when I was on the dealer end, man. I didn't wear my vendors out, but I always, what do you got for me? Come see me. You know, shame on us. And again, I'm saying us as dealers, because I've been on that end, was, I had a lot of dealers, I canceled them. I haven't heard from my rep for 3 months anyways. We're not seeing a bunch of results. They're like, well, why didn't you call them? Why didn't you reach out to them? You're paying them that much money. Call them and figure out what's going on. And then after they've been helping you for a month or two, then maybe cancel them. But don't just sit there, I haven't heard from my rep for 6 months and we're just not seeing results, so I got rid of them. Well, come on, reach out to them and drive that person crazy. When I was Viato, some guys wanted to meet every week. I met every week. Some guys once a month was fine, touching base, and some guys wouldn't return my calls. But it was frustrating. And then, the guys that don't return my calls 3 months later, they want to cancel. And it's like, man, I've been trying to help you out. Take advantage of those reps. We're paying them. And then now's the time, if you got downtime, really take advantage of them. Tim, you still on, bud? Max Digital. Are you available there, Tim?
Yeah, I'm here, Jason.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Now, Tim, with the Max Digital, he reached out to me too. They got a few things I know to your current clients and stuff, but kind of go over some of the stuff. I guess some best practices if you have some that everybody can utilize, and then give a heads up to the Max Digital people out there what you guys have for resources to help them through this too right now. So I know you're throwing some
Yeah.
stuff
So
at them.
if I don't get a chance to say this for everybody on this call, I'm sure everybody's thinking it. Thank you so much, Jason, for putting this together. Maybe a virtual, clap. Great job. And I applaud you. So yeah, at Max, I am kind of running into the things that you just expressed. The guys that I talk to on a day in and day out or week in and week out basis are kind of giving me the Heisman right now, but that's okay. I'm gonna be there for you, whether the times are good or we're struggling. Things I can share from a best practice. I would use this time, guys, as a time to update your online game. I think that things that we're seeing is our customers are very forgiving right now. Think about, you're trying to order food online, or you've changed the way that you shop at home. So leverage this experience to change your game and get better at it. You can only control what you can control. So, this is the best time to try something new. Absolutely be prepared to deliver cars. Absolutely be prepared to have cars clean and prove to customers that you do that. Some things that we're seeing dealers do is update your phone lines to, if you're in a state where you can't work from the dealership, let's update our phone lines so they're forwarding to our salespeople's either home phones or cell phones. We still want to run those same best practices as listening to calls, being able to follow up on missold traffic. Some of these, basic blocking and tackling rules still apply to online sales. And then as far as, messaging, I would encourage you guys to use some people to create content that supports what you do as a dealer. Like, what makes you different? What are you doing different today that you might not have done? You guys talked a lot of stuff about, making sure your website's up to date, things like that. But make sure you're messaging that you're aware that the times have changed and you've adapted and you're ready to help your customers too. So just a couple of tips that I'm sharing with my guys. Max customers. If there's any of those on the line, they can hit me up at Tim@Max Digital. But I wanted to let you know our latest product called Max BDC is available for free to all current customers. If you need more specific information about that, hit me up. But it's a phenomenal tool if you are just trying to figure out this whole online or digital retailing experience. It's a great tool to get you started, especially if you're a current Max Digital First Look customer. It ties in nicely. We also, for our customers, we also offer a suite of other products that we are replacing products that are out there from other vendors. I'm not going to say that charge a lot more. We'd be willing to supplement those and save you guys a bunch of money. Again, Jason, thanks so much for the opportunity.
Yep. And I've seen that BDC tool. It's really cool, guys. If your clients, and I know Max Digital, they would probably allow a lot of dealers using it for free right now. The problem is, they'd have to have your data feed and all that kind of stuff that you can't just, it's not like the VIN autocorrect thing that cars.com has. They have to have your stuff. So, but these a good group there. All these vendors are great. I should have, and I didn't reach out. Matter of fact, these guys reached out to me. I know Max Digital did, cars.com did, about asking, is it okay if they sat on the call? And I'm like, well, yeah, and I want you to chime in because I think this is a good mix. As long as, every dealer's on here to try to help each other out, and every vendor's in here not trying to sell their stuff, we can all communicate with each other and give support and some best practices and everything like that. So, no, I think it was, right now, I got the agenda that I wanted to do. I don't need to run. So if guys want to, everybody want to hang out here and talk anymore, if we want to wrap up, everybody can jump off. I will say, I guess, a little self-promoting, but it's not. I have over 200 tips on my YouTube channel. Just go to Lotpop Inc. there. And again, the reason why I say it's not promoting, it's all tips. This is stuff you guys could do, this, yourselves. So go there or subscribe. Again, I'm doing almost something every day, if not every other day right now. And it's just stuff like this, things that somebody said or something we picked up on a call, and I share it with everybody. Because again, there's no rocket science here. It's just a matter of process and process management. So check that out, because that's another resource, I think, and most of them have been put up on iTunes or for podcasts if you're working out or something like that. So take advantage of that if you'd like. What else?
Jason, I got one for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Joe Pastel here at Cars.com.
Oh yeah, how you doing, Joe?
Good, man. Good to talk to you.
I know, it's been a while.
Yeah. So I got a quick one. So this is definitely a new day. If you look for our car dealers, if you look around in other industries, everybody's super cleaning and creating social distance, and people are using FaceTime a lot. Jason, if you could you pull up Google Trends?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dang it, I have that up, and I wanted to cover that. So good point. See?
Wow. So what is this? Is this used cars for sale? Look at the right-hand side of the chart where it just dips down.
Yeah.
And put in FaceTime as an example, or video.
FaceTime. Boom. Wow.
Boom. You can do the same thing with video conference. Try home delivery.
And if you guys don't know this, I was going to tell you guys, this is another good tip. Like, it's called google.com/trends. Now you can do up to, I think, 5 comparables. And I'm going to cut you off here real quick, Joe. A couple things. You could do used cars for sale or used cars and see if that activity is up or down. You can narrow it down by, last 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, past year. And then down here, you can even narrow it down to your market. So again, I'm in Kansas, and then I can even narrow it down to my county, and see what's happening there. So I'll let you go. Or I want to bring that back up with a good tip. That activity for this stuff is huge.
Yes. So the magic that the new world that we're in, the new normal, is contactless selling. Selling from screen to screen, whether it's sales or service. So our customers can't. I'm in New York, and New York is a lockdown state, and you're stuck in your home. So you end up FaceTiming and using video hangouts and stuff like that. Video use is just exploding now because we're stuck in our home. So it's becoming much more common in a lockdown state. So if you have salespeople that they have their smartphone, just use your FaceTime or use your Google Hangouts or whatever Facebook video medium that you can find, and customers can get a video walk around without coming to the store. You can get a lot done with video. That can help. That could be helpful.
Yeah, that's just crazy how those trends are changing.
Yeah, and it's you can do the same thing for video conference. Oh, one more. Try this one: home delivery.
Yeah, I think we did that. Hold on, I'll remove all these. Now, guys, what we're doing here, these are what did people go to Google for and search? Now, they don't give you the raw number. Well, here, I mean, you do like this. It says how many people are typing that in, and then it trends it out. And they don't give you the raw number, but 100 is the peak, is the highest. So you can kind of see we hit a peak last week, and this week it's kind of died down now that people probably seen it enough. So that's what we're looking at. It's I've had some people ask him what that was, but it's just them searching for that keyword. You said home delivery. Yeah.
You see that? It's like you're seeing a shift in our customers who now are interested in keeping busy, but how do I do it? So I need like home delivery or home test drive or
look at that car delivery. Huh.
Yep.
Does that mean they're looking for people that deliver cars to them, or?
Yeah. Well, let's roll this back one little step and make it practical for everybody. So let's say you're the used car manager or / decision maker, and you're trying to figure out when it's right to start buying cars. Because let's say, it's $2,000 back MMR, and MMR is falling week over week. If you put in used cars for sale, so you come to Google Trends, everybody, you click in used cars for sale, and you can start watching your trends. Now, I think you're for your home state, right?
Right now, yes. So let me blow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
So like if you go to New York, where I am, which is a lockdown state, it's like it just falls right off the cliff.
Yeah.
Ooh, not so bad. Not so bad. Okay. So I think if you take a further up perspective, it shifts.
Yeah.
Because of the data is different. But anyways, you try to look for clues to tell you
New York.
When is the what's going on out there. Google Trends is helpful. Another thing, this is weird, okay? This is really weird. But if you're in a state that's not locked down, New York is, and it's got a several week head start on you. Okay, this is kind of like dark, but watch the death rate in New York. And when it starts to turn and start to slope down, you can start to see how long the virus lasts when the lockdown is in full effect. And then if you see New York's numbers getting better and better, that's probably a sign that the end is starting to take shape.
Oh yeah, and that will be a big indicator of. I mean, I'm hoping what Trump said. By April, if we can just kind of open things back up, or April 24th, or somewhere around there.
So one other thing to do is this is kind of like the gallows kind of look at things, but this is really why we're here in this talk, is this virus. Italy is 2 weeks ahead of New York. So for y'all that want to get into some data and try to look into the crystal ball, look into Italy and watch its numbers. And you can get the COVID, you can Google COVID Italy deaths or whatever the number is, and you can start just to look for trends, see if shelter in place, quote unquote, does its job and really starts to reverse the numbers.
Yeah, and then you guys again just kind of headed, and this is auto related in a bit because we want to stay ahead of this. There's I know in Drudge this is the site I always go to. They show a trend line over here by each state and or in each country.
This is definitely car related. This is definitely car related because there's pent-up demand. If you're not in a lockup state, I'll give you another. I'm in New York, which is everybody's lockdown. Dealers, the proactive dealers, are still taking deposits on used cars. So the leads are coming in. The phone is ringing. People are stuck at their home, and they had a car that they were really wanting, and they're looking to put a deposit down with the intent that they're going to, once the fog clears and the all clear comes out, that's the car they want. So this is relevant. Trying to figure out
Italy. It almost seems like they're kind of almost coming to the peak. Almost looks like it's starting to almost trend down almost a little bit. China hit this, but who knows if they're telling the truth or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So Italy's lockdown started 2 weeks before New York. New York's lockdown started before your state, if you're not locked down now. And look into the crystal ball means look into New York and look into Italy to see when it's going to turn. And this is more darkness. Sorry, everybody. But should this go on, those who are extended already are going to want to get out of their car, and you're going to find a lot of for sale by owners activity going on. So you should be able to steal some cars on the open market.
I don't know. I know there's products out there. Relook at them. There used to be products that will help you find private sellers, cars for sale in the market with private sellers. Everybody know that might be picking up. That might be picking up during this downtime and economy time because people need to free up some cash. So, like I talked about earlier, when this floodgates open a bit and people can communicate, and they might be dumping stuff to free some cash, get some inventory that way instead of fighting them at the lanes. And yeah.
All right. And one last little tidbit is that we believe it's fairly logical that once the tide starts to turn and people are starting to get stir crazy, and they want to start reliving their life because the numbers, they're going to show up on their digitally first, probably in the marketplaces, gurus, traders, cars.com, and then on your website. So we have a real-time analytics team that is putting together reports to try to get a read when we sense that shift that's happening, when we see the market is starting to shift and interest is starting to percolate again, to give you advance notice of the pipe is starting to fill up, anticipation is starting to build.
Yep.
And go to growwithcars.com, and when we figure that out, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah, keep an eye on that. I love what I didn't know Alex and them were doing that with the Congress and all that, trying to keep auto open and everything. That's a good sign. Don't forget what he talked about at the very beginning. We need to get everybody petitioned and everybody in front of these and make it a essential retail business, because people do need mobile. I mean, think about your wheelchair mobility packages. Maybe you got to start looking at that now. Mobility packages and cars. They might need to be buying some of those and servicing those. And people that need to downgrade because they can't afford this car anymore because they lost their job and they need it before their credit goes bad. Get another car. Things like that are going to have to happen, and we need to make sure we're signing that petition. I want to add one more thing here, and Joe, hopefully you appreciate this. A lot of dealers ask me, hey, Jason, I think you need to be on, I always say at least two out of the, and let's just say the big three, AutoTraderCars.com, Car Gurus. But, a lot of guys are having good success with Carfax. I would almost be on as many of these platforms as possible. Spread your inventory to where the shoppers are. I'm all about SEO, SEM stuff and drive people to your own site. But again, if you only have one Ford Focus and that's what they're looking for and it's not the right color, they're ending up on sites like these. So I always tell them at least I would be on two out of the three of the big ones, and there's multiples. Some of them ask, well, which one should I do? I usually use this as, I tell them, hey, go to here, look at your market and see what people are maybe searching for. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's not fair to cars.com, and I'll explain why. Let's say and I'm looking nationwide, Car Gurus, and maybe let's add, Edmunds or Carfax, for example. Now, every market's going to be different, so I'd say, hey, maybe reference this, and let's just say I'll go to my state below. I'm in Kansas here. Oh, that's Missouri. Jeez. All right, Kansas. Yeah. Now, here's the reason why I say it's not fair to cars.com, because I think people are going to not type cars.com in the Google search. They're just going to type it in their band right?
Yep.
And then you can't just look for cars, because if I just go look for cars, it's going to blow all the other numbers away. And then if you go in here and say cars.com, it's going to look crappy to them, but no one's going to search cars.com. They're just going to put it in their browser. So that's hard gauge to say, should I do Auto Trader, Car Gurus, or whatever in my market? Just figure out, and this is a good resource again, but don't, if you just thought of using this and trying to, cars.com is not a fair grade, if you guys can understand that. I don't think it's a fair shot to them. But here's a way to maybe see how that's working in your market to understand. But right now, I'd try to be on almost all of them, because, maybe that money you're saving on your dent paint guy, that he's not coming to your lot anymore to do that because you can't sell anyways. Allocate some, I know everybody's cutting expenses, but maybe allocate some of that kind of money over to some of these venues. And I know right now they'll probably give dealers some great deals. I don't know. I'm speaking myself. I'll give dealers great deals on my services right now to help them through, because I'm doing it for my current clients. So why wouldn't I do it for a new client? So, there's the great resources out here. Again, I like Google Trends too, because if I'm a Ford store and I'm Jason Rice Ford, I might want to see if John Anderson Chevy versus Jason Rice Ford, and see if he's getting more people looking for him than me. Or maybe you did a TV campaign or a big campaign or mailer or radio, and you want to see if people went online to look for you or not. Here's a good way to see that. So this is a good source. Thanks for reminding me, Joe. I wanted to bring that up. All right, guys. Anything else? Again, I think this is great and productive. I've had some Calendly issues, but I think we'll try. I'm going to do this again. I'll send out a whole new invite for next Wednesday. Look for that over the next couple of weeks on Facebook. I'll probably take this list and just email them the data. If you guys want to try this again next week and see anything's changed, because right now, who knows what next week brings. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this and it was helpful, and everybody stay healthy and stay strong. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.